If you haven't seen it already, the official teaser for Star Wars The Last Jedi has officially dropped. And as always, I'm gonna let you know how I feel about it. So I do want to mention before I say anything that I've been a very big Star Wars fan pretty much my entire life. I remember renting Star Wars A New Hope on VHS from Blockbuster when I was really little, and I watched it as soon as I got home, and when I was done, I begged my parents to take me back to Blockbuster so that I can rent Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi because I just wanted to finish it. Side note, I actually ended up working at that Blockbuster when I got older. Not important, but you know. So since I loved it so much, my parents bought me the original VHS box set. I opened it up on Christmas Day, and I took it and ran straight in my room and started watching the tapes. And the funny part about this is that I didn't leave my room the rest of the day, and we had company over. So basically, I missed the rest of the holiday. I missed dinner, I didn't say goodbye to any of my family members, and by the time I left my room, it was nighttime and nobody was there. Everyone was going to bed. So during this time, I was also really into collecting the Power of the Force figures, which I still have all of them, and they're all unopened. I used to go to KB Toys, Toys R Us. There was this store called Caldor on Long Island that I don't know if that existed anywhere else, but I used to go to all these places just to sift through all the figures and see what I didn't have. I was looking for all the Jedis with the short sabers, the long sabers, short saber and long saber package. I had Han Solo in Carbonite Freezing Chamber. I had Han Solo in Carbonite Block. They were the same toy, but it read differently on the packages, it read differently on the cardboard, and I wanted them both. And one of them that I still don't have to this day, and I've never actually seen it with my own eyes, is the Boba Fett with the stripe going through the circle on his glove. Still don't have that one. And when I was in middle school, the digitally remastered versions with all the CGI editions came out. It was my first time ever seeing Star Wars in theaters. I never thought that I would be able to see Star Wars in theaters because it already happened. And then when I was in high school, the prequels started coming out. I actually saw Attack of the Clones on the night of my junior prom. That's a pretty good look into what my priorities were at that point in time. And then the rest is history. We're not gonna go through my entire life of Star Wars. So let's get back to the teaser. The reason I gave this deep dive into how much I love Star Wars, my past with Star Wars, growing up, loving the story, loving the characters, and everything that comes with it, all of this is directly associated to my opinion about the teaser. So I have a feeling a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on this, but I felt like the teaser left more to be desired. Now, obviously, that's what a teaser's supposed to do, and many people are probably sitting in your chairs like, Robbie, that's what a teaser is. But the reason why I feel like this is because I've loved Star Wars so much and for so long, I feel like I'm not seeing anything new. The teaser opens up, you see Rey, Mark Hamill is giving an ominous narration as Luke Skywalker, and he's training Rey, it seems. This is very similar to the trailer that we got for The Force Awakens. There's a bunch of fade in, fade outs, slow moving scenes with someone narrating over it, and you hear, there's been an awakening, have you felt it? And then bam, we get a bunch of action shots and Star Wars music that we recognize. It was basically the same thing, except with shots and lines from a new movie. Like every Star Wars movie, we see a bunch of space battles, we see the war going on up in outer space, we see lightsaber duels, lightsabers swinging around, humans and droids living together, mass hysteria. So to emphasize, a lot of Star Wars fans may feel the same way that I do, but again, I have a feeling most do not. I don't need more of the same thing. I don't need more storyline to the cast of characters that we already know. Rey was introduced in The Force Awakens to carry on the story of the Jedi. If we find out that she's the descendant of some character that we already know, possibly Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or whoever your theory is, that's gonna be a little upsetting for me. Because that means, in all of Star Wars, the fate of the galaxy has always been associated to the Skywalkers somehow. And that's just kind of empty. You've got Darth Vader, arguably one of the most powerful Sith Lords of his time in this universe, and his son, Luke Skywalker, and they battle it out, and that's the original story, but now we're gonna continue on with more from the Skywalkers? Was anyone else in the galaxy not important? Is everyone else's existence and fate surrounded by the life of the Skywalkers? And this actually goes into why I loved Rogue One so much. Some people didn't like Rogue One. I happen to really like Rogue One. I thought that was a great Star Wars movie because it was very different. We got to see another part of Star Wars. Again, I love Star Wars. I want to know more about what's going on. We got to see what other people, what other heroes, what other protagonists and villains were involved in all of these really gigantic events. And to me, that's really awesome to see. I loved that. And I happen to really like that everybody died in that movie because, again, it doesn't really follow the formula of a regular Star Wars movie, and it actually brings depth to the storyline. We're actually starting to see people who made sacrifices for the cause to end this war for good. That's something we didn't see a lot of. I mean, Obi-Wan sacrificed himself, and yeah, some people died. This was definitely different. And this is the same feeling that I had when I was going through Harry Potter for the first time. I saw all of the movies first. I grew up watching the movies. I had never read the books, but then as an adult, I decided, you know what? I should probably read these books. I have a feeling they're really good, because everybody keeps telling me that. But originally, while I was watching the movies, something that was always strange to me is that obviously we're following the story of Harry because he's the main character and he lives in England. What is going on with the rest of the world? Are there wizards in Africa? Are there wizards in Australia? Because if you really think about it, Voldemort isn't just a threat to the wizarding world. He's a threat to the Muggle world also. So that would mean the entire world. So what was everybody doing after the Goblet of Fire? I mean, yeah, we may not have believed completely that he was back until the ending of Order of the Phoenix, but when he came back, were wizards in the United States or Canada or Australia or anywhere else in the world like, maybe we should, like, help? But maybe the wizarding world is very much like the real world where certain countries are neutral? Now, if you think I've already been ranting, I'm gonna go on a rant now. I personally feel that the quality of the protagonists and antagonists in Star Wars has been getting worse over time. Now, I'm not talking about the performance of the actors. I'm not talking about the depth of the characters or the writing. Well, I guess it's part of the writing. I'm talking about the skill levels and the severity of what is actually going on. John Boyega, who plays Finn, finds himself one-on-one with Kylo Ren, who just moments earlier murdered Han Solo, his own father. So we're supposed to get the idea that although as confused as his character is, he is pretty ruthless. Finn is armed with nothing but Luke's lightsaber that he doesn't really know how to use. Now, let's think about this. Kylo Ren has been trained since he was a young boy by Luke Skywalker. Luke is the last remaining Jedi who has been trained by Yoda. And also Obi-Wan Kenobi. 2 Jedi Masters have trained Luke Skywalker. Now you have this character training Kylo Ren. You can imagine that Kylo Ren is pretty good with the lightsaber. Now you're telling me that when Finn has to defend himself against a wannabe Sith Lord who has been trained by a Jedi using nothing but a lightsaber, a weapon that he doesn't really know how to use, you're telling me that he shouldn't have died in 2 seconds. 1, maybe 2 moves. Again, Kylo has been trained by a real Jedi in how to use this weapon. And that's what makes me upset about this. If you put Finn in front of Darth Maul, what do you think would have happened? Maul would have killed Finn in 1, maybe 2 moves, and if not with his lightsaber, he probably just could have pinched his throat and killed him. My point to all of this is that it made Kylo look like he wasn't even really that threatening. Because he can't even take out some guy. Well, that's just it, just some guy. And that brings me to Rey. I think her story is gonna get a lot better, but I really didn't like the fact that she was just able to do Jedi mind tricks in the first movie. I understand they're probably gonna build upon this, where she maybe was trained before when she was young, she doesn't remember anything, but in this movie, just as a film itself, I was like, wait a minute. It always seemed like a Jedi mind trick can only be done by someone who has been trained for a very long time and really understands the ways of the Force, really understands everything about the balance between light and dark. Not someone who literally just left her home planet for the first time and can just do it immediately when she needs to. If there was anything that I did love about this trailer, it was one shot. There's one shot that shows the island that Rey finds Luke on. You see them in the distance and someone, it's probably Rey, is swinging around the blue lightsaber, Luke's lightsaber. You see the training going on from afar. That was a good shot. I liked that. So listen, everyone, go check out the trailer. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're probably gonna love it. And you know, maybe I'm weird, but all because I like something a lot doesn't mean I'm gonna like everything about it, everything that's released that's associated to it. That's just the type of person that I am. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching this episode of Geek Level Asian. My name is Robbie. If you happen to like watching these videos, please subscribe to the channel. If you don't agree with any of my opinions, subscribe anyway. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter. They're both at Geek Level Asian, and I'll see you next time.